versus Suning. Now let's see what goes on in this game. Remember, a few patterns that did emerge in the last game. We saw Suning get picked a lot, especially on, and we saw EDG absolutely running it with Viper. Viper having the game of his life over there, just having so much freedom and mobility. Now, Viper's Ezreal is still up and available. Looks like it's been opting to pick away the Karma from EDG this time, not wanting to give it to them. The Lee Sin and Sinjao bans as well as the Camille ban do remain, with a double jungle ban coming out on the side of Suning. Interesting here that we see Suning on red side. This is, so far, they lose a lot on red side. They're 2 and 7 on red right now. EDG, let's see what they pick, as the Ezreal and Karma is picked away from. Let's see what their counter is to this. The Akali pick could be flexed between both mid and top, but historically speaking, Flandre seems to be the in-house resident Akali player, and looks like EDG want to show Suning's bot lane how to do it, as they do pick the Varus. Will they go for the Leona here? That is the question. They could, of course, opt to pick their mid laner. I don't think Silas is particularly good in this situation. They could, of course, Lee Sin is banned, opt for the LeBlanc, I suppose. Instead, I think they prefer the Nautilus over the Leona. On side of Suning, will they pick a top laner here? Gwen is still available, as is Viego. Unlikely that both champions will be able to make it into the second round of drafts. Angels, Viego, while it wasn't bad, it wasn't too amazing either, as the Nocturne is still available as well. Suning actually reminding me of it by hovering that pick. Interesting that neither team opting for it. Nocturne, of course, the second most banned champion in the LPL entirely. The only champion that beats Nocturne is Renekton, and as we see here, that champion is well and truly gone and banned. Now, on the side of Suning, let's see what their bans go. This is probably a mid lane and jungler that you need to think about here. And what junglers are available? There is, of course, the Udyr. There is, of course, the Nocturne, as mentioned. Volibear is banned, just so. Diana is available as well. EDG have kind of a poke, pick, a bit of an engage, dive-ish potential coming in as well. So the Diana ban, I wouldn't hate it either. On side of EDG, looking to take away some mid lane picks, perhaps trying to force Angel into considering this Viego down in the mid lane. Suning, will they opt to ban the Silas here? Scout Silas in the last game was pretty effective. They could, of course, pick it for themselves, as now EDG are the ones with 3 very nice ultimates to look to pick away. And I have a feeling that's exactly what they want to do. Maybe they want to send Bin up in the top lane with this Viego, or maybe even leave a Viego for SOFM, and then just have Angel on the Silas. EDG, though, I think they might opt to ban it out, because it's a pretty big thing to leave up. Triple ultimates, Chains of Corruption, Depth Charge, and Perfect Execution are some of the most premium ultimates you could ask for. The only things really up there alongside that are the Unstoppable Force as well as the Solar Flare, as it does eventually get banned out. Suning now in a little bit of a pickle. They do have the option to pick Gwen here for Bin in the top lane, and then leave the last pick for the mid laner. I really wouldn't hate to see that at all. Now, on the side of EDG, it's interesting to see what they could potentially bring out here. Rumble is gone, Diana is gone, Lee Sin is gone. Holy cow, it's a 5 jungle ban coming out from Suning, actually, as the LeBlanc pick is what they settle for. On the side of EDG, they, in fact, could opt to go for Gwen here. Why do I keep saying Gwen? Because I think Gwen is absolutely broken, and why would you not pick it? Especially in this composition. They are not so lacking in terms of pick and engage. They do have dive. Really, their comp could go anywhere. Yep, I don't hate this at all. I think Gwen is a fantastic pick here. Set is available as well, though, if we would like to mention that, but I think you can only have so many champions that Flandre plays on one team. EDG now, the main champion roster, most of the meta junglers are out of the equation right now, so they could really opt for anything. Udyr is still available, Hecarim's there as well, I suppose, and imagine if Suning managed to get Silas in this draft. That is amazing. Literally every single ultimate is a dream come true. It is a daydream in a daydream. Holy cow, the Silas pick would have been so value. I nearly cannot believe it. But now that that's not on the cards anymore, what will Suning do? It looks like they are set on sending SOFM into the jungle with the Viego. And will they pull out the Jax? Jax apparently is a counter to Gwen. Now, I don't know how true this is, because I feel like almost all Jax lanes are kind of fighting flippy. But Bin looking quite happy there through those huge rimmed glasses at having the opportunity to take over this game, I suppose. Now, it's very exciting to see Bin on a carry champion yet again, looking across the board. Suning not much in the team fight department, a lot of assassination, I suppose, with the LeBlanc as well as the Viego, and then there's always the team fight Viego resets. It's really kind of a kite back pick kind of composition with a bit of split sprinkled through there. Meanwhile, on the side of EDG, a much simpler poke, engage, pick, all-in dive composition coming in with the potential to do a little bit of split pushing as well against the Jax. But the beauty of the Gwen is you don't even need to split push against the Jax in this situation. Your team has so much engage. You just go off to the side lane, hug the tower, and if he comes close, give him a little bit off the top, take a little trim over there. In the early game, looking at the compositions, top priority will probably go in favor of Suning, especially seeing as how Bin likes to play it. He likes to stack his wave and play very aggressively. This could mean we might see some early game ganks going up towards the top side of Viego versus a Hecarim. Kind of a full clear champion in the Hecarim, so the Viego means Suning might have a little bit more of urgency heading up to his top side. That being said, if Bin is the one who is pushing, unless they're going to go for a dive very early against Gwen, really probably when she's at her weakest. All things considered though, let's not forget that this is Gwen before her changes. In fact, she hasn't even been changed now, so Gwen is omega strong level 1. That being said, of course, Jax is also very strong level 1, especially when he can counter-strike away your advantage, which advantage being, of course, your E and the attack speed, attack range, extra damage it gives you. What a freaking spell. As Bin opting for the phase rush up in top lane, not wanting to take extended trades, wanting to do some quick ins and outs. But aside from that, across the board, everything is looking in well and truly in its place. As we hop into game 2, EDG are going to have easy priority in pretty much no lane actually. I think Suning have priority in all 3 lanes, which means it's going to be a bit of a sit back game for EDG. They really only get strong towards the mid game, so it's all about surviving towards that point when everyone starts getting 1 to 2 items and taking over the game. Meanwhile, on the side of Suning, with the early priority, they will be able to more options will be available to them. But that being said, they really don't have a very strong early game team either. Bin playing pretty aggressively, looking to play pretty aggressively by the looks of it with the teleport as well as ignite. It's just common nowadays, I suppose, for top laners not to take flash. Just want to get as much of a lead as possible in their top lane, as Suning just dropping some deep vision does get swept out pretty much immediately, which means Angel will not have a ward to spot out JJ with over the Raptor camp. Let's see what happens in the top side, as this is going to be the most volatile lane of all. Really, a lot is on Bin here to get a bit of a lead, as well as the fact as Flandre, as much so as suppose as Flandre has some pressure onto him just trying to survive and maybe even shut down this Jax before he can become even a bit of a problem. So far it looks like I am wrong, as Flandre does have top priority before even having his Q up. I thought that Bin would try and stack his passive as much as possible, but I suppose Flandre does have that thought in mind as well. And look how the tables have turned, I suppose, as On now is the one annoying as always, just harassing as much as possible from the bushes, as it looks to be a full clear coming out from either team. SOFM as well, it's going to be a bit slow, however, compared to the AoE damage that is provided by the Hecarim helicopter, as already he is 1 camp up and starting on his 4th camp before SOFM even finishes his 3rd. Priorities are kind of matched in the mid lane. Let's see how the game goes, I suppose. Now, interestingly enough, JJ is the one who is going to be finishing up towards the top side. I really don't see why SOFM wanted to finish towards the bottom side, because if you think about it, look at the damage coming out from Flandre. If you think about it, why would you finish towards the bottom side? You know where JJ is starting. You know where JJ is starting. Maybe he wanted to mirror him? I don't know. Let me see. Let me think. Because you know where JJ is starting, and you know that top lane is the most volatile lane. I mean, bot lane is chilling. Bot lane's heavy, hard chilling right now. So why would you finish towards the bot? There's literally nothing to do here. You get prio, I suppose, so it helps you secure Scuttle Crab, and that's pretty much the only thing. Or maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough. I don't know. Well, it looks like both junglers not much, nothing much to do about anything. Not much to do about anything. as they are just simply clearing their way across the map. In the bot side, a little bit of action going down as somehow Huanfeng is actually taken so incredibly low. Meanwhile, the rest of EDG are very healthy as in comes the flash, the quiver comes down. Not very much happens after that, I suppose, as Viper in the bot side alongside Mako turning it on to Huanfeng and on, showing them how you win this lane. You don't need a Leona apparently, neither do you need a constant Rumble gank or for Rumble to hit level 6, as already things are looking good for EDG. They got a solid lead in the top lane in terms of items as well as a teleport advantage. Let's see what happens here. It looks like Huanfeng using his essence shift and actually getting tagged up by a pretty suspicious looking hook. If you ask me, manages to cleanse the ignite at least, but fortunately or unfortunately in this case, his support does have to take a tumble for his misstep, as a very aggressive turn of events in the top side. Flandria also jumping in aggressively onto Bin, who is a little bit low on his mana, does not have the corrupting pots to sustain himself out, and also has no idea where the jungler is. That's why he has to step up a little bit far into the river and get a quick ward down. Shallow wards won't really help you against a Hecarim, who in this situation is very comfortably farming, is now at actually behind SOFM for some reason. As SOFM is about to get spotted out by that ward, Flandria of course will have his W, will have the good mist come out, so he's probably going to be completely safe, won't even be able to get Spectral Mod in that situation. Viego jungle a little bit uncomfortable, not very much not much ability, I suppose, to set up ganks without your laner, as EDG just take this opportunity and get a couple of pinks deep into Suning's jungle. Suning will probably have some idea of that happening as Viego is coming back. JJ is overstepping slightly as Flandre using his teleport advantage. Bin actually, sorry, still does have his teleport as well. JJ spotted out, stealing away the last of SOFM's bot side camps. As the teleport does come in, Bin still quite greedy with his back timing, still not opting to reset despite the item at disadvantage. Flandre does have his boots, which means getting a counter strike onto him is going to be a very, very difficult. Now, kind of forced out of this situation. Bin, I'm surprised that he's backing off. Doesn't know where the mid lane is, I suppose. It's the only reason he's backing off so far back. But now Flandre is going to have an easy time just zoning him from the wave, jumping away from the snip, which means actually he's probably going to be able to soak up the rest of this wave pretty easily. As the harass does come true, somehow juggling tower aggro very well is Flandre. But, I mean, really, all he can do is chisel him down. Now he's bought enough time, however, as JJ is in the area. No one on the side of Suning is here. Teleport isn't even available for Angel. But it looks like JJ is just chasing around the Scuttle Crab at this point in time. Bin really just wasting a lot of time. He just channel his recall and get a quick teleport in. Maybe he's scared that if he teleports in, he'll get Doven. Because even though, right now, even after he comes back, he will still be considered, like, quite vulnerable, as he's just constantly getting zoned. I really don't understand why he doesn't channel his recall a little bit earlier. Now, EDG in full control of the top side jungle, and SOFM just having his jungle taken away from him. JJ pushing his advantage as much as possible, letting him know. Now Flandre is being jumped onto, Ignite is popped, the phase rush comes through, but the dash is enough for Flandre to get away. JJ is in the rear, as is Viego, but Angel's here as well, does have the chain, so is he going to try and go onto JJ as the jump comes out on back to the minions. Suning's Bin is really low on mana, honestly, and after that recall, I don't know how things are going to go. Thankfully, Flandre does not have his teleport available, and they have full vision of mid lane. So now that there is a bit of a posture towards running up towards the top side, is actually channeling his recall is Scout in the mid lane. Bin probably just have to push this wave and get himself a quick recall off as well. Both top laners kind of a little bit greedy, but I suppose their picks and the jungle picks allow them to do so, as ganks are not as simple. Both of these are more of like team fighting champions, as Huanfeng's Essence Flux goes way off the map. Looking at it now, Suning are going to have a pretty hard time later on, I think, because EDG are generally the ones who do secure first blood, as is the trend that continues on into this game. Secure first tower as well. Huanfeng really not having the time of his life in the bot lane. Really, it just seems to be a bit of an AD carry difference more than a pick difference. But the main problem that I foresee in Suning's draft is that they don't have any engage. They literally have none. Their engage is Angel stepping forward with a chain, or Bin jumping in without flash with his counter-strike. That really isn't leaving yourself open to very much. Now, Viper is completely out of mana. Both junglers just continuing their clears. Really not too much going on. Rift Herald has spawned, but neither team are looking particularly interested based on their movements in collecting that. Looks like, as I say that, however, EDG's solo laners now are surrounding it, trying to get as much vision as possible. Blue buff is up, and I suppose after that, JJ will be in position to pick up that Rift Herald. Meanwhile, SOFM is on the opposite side of the map, still hovering towards bottom side, clearing out his jungle as well. So far, he's done a pretty good job keeping up in terms of CS with a Hecarim, which is what I'm more surprised of. JJ can potentially look for a dive here, sorry, a gank here up in the top wave. The wave is massive as Flandre just trying his best to hold it in a very, very nice position, and he does manage to freeze it pretty nicely. Now they do need to be careful as JJ is spotted out on the Rift Herald ward, right on top of it, in fact. But it looks to be no difference as JJ feeling so safe, he even smites out Rift Scuttle Crab in order to break the shield in the mid lane on just rooting out Mako as a follow-up chain does come in from Angel right in front of Scout. Scout really not much that he can do, but through this all, JJ is still doing the Rift Herald. Now, Huanfeng is still in base kind of, and he's going to be slightly behind as Mako flashes over the wall, jumps in as well as the onslaught of shadows. Looks like On is going to be instantly exploded as Scout is going in for Angel right under tower, kills the clone instead of the real character, forced to flash out. However, he's caught between three members of Suning, gone too deep. Scout pays for it with his life. But I think that is enough for Suning to stop and stymie the aggression of EDG. 1-for-1 across the board, 1,000 gold lead still in favor of EDG. And that mostly is coming from, looks like almost everywhere that isn't mid lane. So Suning, the only ray of sunshine is Angel in the mid lane. Aside from that, everything is pretty much in favor of EDG at this point in time. Both neutral objectives are up, but of course at this point in time, very much more important to get Rift Herald than it is to get Dragon, as SOFM, similarly to game 1, is starting up Rift Herald in full vision of EDG. Suning this time are in position on, chunked to about 2/3 of his HP as another piercing arrow comes through, does miss this time. However, Suning, the first game, they did lose a lot of pressure off of a Rift Herald contest, but it looks like this time with 5 members there, feeling themselves a little bit more this time, they will be able to secure the Rift Herald, and EDG biding their time, waiting to get to the item power spike still. They are kind of close. Everyone getting 1 or 2 components of the mythics that they so desperately require. As Bin now turning up the pressure onto Flandre, jumps forward with the counter strike. Unfortunately, his leap strike is still on cooldown, so he won't be able to jump back into the minions and avoid a complete trade altogether. As soon as the ultimate came out, Bin instantly popping to ignite, not wanting to give Flandre too much HP. And with that, I think Flandre is going to be quite happy because the ignite cooldown is still quite a bit longer than his own ultimate. As Mako starts the fight with about a third HP flashing over the wall at Onslaught of Shadowfall up, we kind of saw the entirety of this fight, and we saw Scout go kind of heavy into the tower. It's unfortunate he took a 50-50, flipped the coin. Unfortunately, he came up short, and as a result, he does die. If Angel died there, I think he pretty much gets out because there'll be no chain to follow up and root him to allow Viego to pounce on him as well. And let's see if either team are interested enough to make an attempt on this dragon. LeBlanc's not exactly the easiest thing to depth charge, as she can double distortion away if she feels particularly threatened. Meanwhile, in the top lane, looks like Bin managing to work towards his Blade of the Ruined King. It's going to have a lot more combat stats than Flandre. Even if Flandre completes his components right now with a blasting one, it's still not going to be as comfortable a position as Bin is right now. That being said, Flandre will definitely finish his mythic item much sooner than Bin. Bin is pretty much building towards a 1v1 me. Wonder if he's gonna go for the Divine Sunderer build here or perhaps the Triforce. Looking at the enemies, I think either is good. Of course, Divine Sunderer is purported to be a pretty broken item at this point, so most likely he will be working towards that. I must say, however, given the fact that you have split push, yeah, fair. But the problem is that in the late game, wow, nice instant cleanse over there, Huanfeng showing that even he can do a Captain Jack. It's really become a necessity, I suppose, being an AD carry at this point in time. Captain Jacking is probably in the basic handbook for all AD carries as SOFM, waiting to see where Flandre is, eventually running out of patience, just popping the Rift Herald up to the top lane, trying to funnel as much gold as possible into the paws, hands, and sticks of Bin. JJ is in the area, however, and looks to be a gank coming in. Bin might be stepping up a little bit too far, is eventually leaving now. Good intuition telling him that it's about time to leave. Actually, I think it's because Scout was lost in terms of Scout was lost in vision, sorry. They lost vision of Scout, holy cow, in the mid lane. But JJ is still in the area. The ward will spot him out, which means Bin should not die here. I wouldn't say won't. I'm saying he should not die here. Now, if we're watching the Shy, he'd probably try and take the 1v2. But we also probably wouldn't see the Shy on Jax. So, a lot of different factors coming in, I suppose. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So even though you've got the split push on the side of Suning, you do have EDG have the Gwen to match you. She can just hug tower, and then her team has got tons of engage, while yours doesn't. You are literally one of the two engage options available. Looks like Flandre is about to get ganked here. No one in position to help him. Scout does have teleport available as the stun does come through the harrowing miss as the ultimate coming in as well. Looks like no teleport will be committed here. Flandre does have his ultimate try and sustain up. Unfortunately, a flash was used. Flash was available on the side of Suning's SOFM, and there we go, easy kill. Now, double distortion was used. Angel is a little bit of an opening for him to get jumped onto here, but it looks like Mako opting not to make an attempt on to Angel's life. Pretty even game so far. Gold is still 700 gold in favor of EDG, but that's soon to not be a case as Bin pummels down this top lane tower on with a bit of a rotation up here, trying to protect his top lane as much as possible with the vision game as SOFM cheekily sitting at the edge of his own mist, trying to see if he can find an opening, dropping another cheeky ward also as soon as JJ leaves. But it looks to me that this bot tower will fall as a result. EDG a little bit delayed on the play, but still cross maps occurring as you would expect from some of the top teams in the world. While Suning might not be a top team in the LPL right now, we know that they are very capable. This is 4/5 of the team that went to Worlds and had such great success, going all the way up to the finals, getting second place. In fact, a pride of the LPL, as they should hold their heads high. Might not be the goal that everybody wants, but really silver is not so bad. Hopefully it will drive them to better things. And so far though, this season it doesn't look to be the case, as they are falling behind 8th place in the league of 17. Now Rift Herald is spawning in a few seconds. It looks like Suning are very much in position. Angels clearing out the bot wave does have teleport available. And actually it looks like I am wrong, because Rift Herald doesn't seem to be spawning for at least another 2 to 3 minutes at this point in time. Looks like they are just motioning, and yeah, looks like they're just motioning. Interesting that they're not opting to send Bin now. Now in a minute's time, at 16 minutes and 37 seconds, we will see Rift Herald spawn. Interesting that we don't see Bin get sent towards the bottom lane. Of course, he does have teleport, as does Angel, and really you don't want to have a 5v5. If there are 5 members of EDG and 5 members of Suning in the same screen, most likely EDG are going to absolutely take over the entire game and the entire fight. So I think Suning, eventually realizing this, now send Bin towards the bottom lane, opting for a 1-3-1 with Angel hovering closer towards the objective in question, towards the side that they do want to contest. Mythic items have come in, so now EDG feeling a bit more comfortable to set up. If they are in the same position as just now, you know for a fact they will push through into the river. They will not allow themselves to be bullied away from any of the neutral objectives anymore, as we see JJ looking to be in position already to start up Rift Herald as soon as it spawns, mid priority in favor of EDG. They're just using their overwhelming members, as Viper using his Prowler's Claw to try and look for something in the mid lane. Huanfeng with the Essence Shift does have Cleanse as well. No Chains of Corruption to start out this fight. That being said, there's still plenty of engage tools. There's still the Onslaught of Shadows, as well as the Depth Charge and the Anchor Toss. It looks like Scout is the one who's going to be sent towards the bot lane to try and stop Bin. Not quite sure how much success he can have. Bin is a little bit up in terms of CS as well as experience by the looks of it, as SOFM starting out the Rift Herald, and Bin teleporting away for some reason. Okay, I mean, I guess maybe he spotted out JJ and realizing that he could probably keep himself particularly safe. And notice though, he popped his Counter-Strike before the teleport. Very nice play coming out. The thing is that somehow, without landing his auto attacks and proccing his passive, Angel actually, what's his name? Scout actually did quite a lot of damage to Bin. So Bin is probably going to need to build towards a Wit's End sometime in the future, especially given they have double AP solo laners. And those are the people who are going to be responding to his split push pressure. But it's a nice little rotation there from EDG trying to make a play. Unfortunately, didn't go the way they wanted to. Looks like they'll secure themselves a Constellation Dragon buff, and even Suning will not be able to contest this given the position that all their players are in. Bin is in the bot side picking up the wave. Suning is trying for something here. Apparently his Angel channels a very late teleport. Would be lucky if he doesn't get jumped onto instantaneously here. It looks like Suning is still trying for something. Chains of Corruption comes out yet again, missing out. This time, however, EDG are quite out of position as Suning has inside track towards mid lane, and they probably will rift down the mid tower. Second tower actually for the side of Suning looks to be going in the mid lane. Nope, never mind. Not to be, alas. As Flandre, with his pressure up to his top side, looks to be attracting a few members of Suning towards him. And the Triforce Bin actually opting for the Triforce, in fact, as let's see what happens here. Bin just seeing, knowing that this isn't it right here, and the damage is coming through. Scout throwing his entire skill pool, throwing his entire skill set at Bin, who was not looking to respond at all, and that's just the case. That's just what happens, I suppose. Oh, my nose. Fortunately, I can't complain. It's a lot better than it ever used to be. Now, let's see what happens here. So far, it's been a very slow game. Both teams scaling towards the mid game as expected, but I guess EDG is still not comfortable enough to try and make explosive plays happen. Want to wait until the 2-item power spike, which Viper has hit. He does have the Serpent's Fang, of course, for the immense Karma shields coming out from on. And I suppose the next dragon is what we're going to have to wait for before we see some explosive team fighting, especially from the likes of EDG. Even though they are generally the team amongst the two who like to take advantage of a strong early game and snowball it into the end before too long. The average game time, of course, coming in at about 30 minutes, which is 2 minutes shorter than Suning's game time. Looks like they are also fully capable of just playing the game slowly, getting to their mid-game power spikes, and then taking over from there. 30-minute game is very much still it's still possible. It's still in the cards. There we go. It's still in the cards for EDG. But right now, I think we gotta comment the fact that they're playing so incredibly slow, kind of stymieing Suning. Not that Suning has got a particularly strong early game composition, as we already discussed in the beginning of the match. Now, so far, split push pressure hasn't really gone too much in favor of either team, and in spite of only being 1 kill out but about 15 CS down, 18. Sorry, about 11 CS down, it looks like Bin is much more ahead in terms of items than Flandre is. Now, Bin won't be able to do much as as two members of EDG continue to besiege his tower. Now, Baron, oh my god, why do I keep mixing up the two? Baron has spawned. It looks like a nice flash coming in here from SOFM. As Flandre is taken down yet again. Whew, excuse me. So far, some nice plays coming in there from Suning. Whew. Some nice plays coming in from Suning. Last, not too much it's not really getting them too much. I mean, Flandre is being set further behind. Bin is getting set further ahead. How is he so ahead of items if you think about it? I suppose all the components that Flandre had to build, got himself a stopwatch, got himself an Oblivion Orb, as well as a Fiendish Codex. Looks like he's building towards his Zonia second item, but already Bin is probably building towards his third, if you include boots, I suppose, fourth item at this point. And it looks to be a Sterak's, could potentially be a Black Cleaver as well. Not that there's too much armor on the side of EDG to shred through, especially on Scout and Flandre. But both of the above mentioned solo laners are building towards Zonias, however. So, there is still potential, I suppose, that he could get some value out of Black Cleaver. Not quite sure if it's more aggressive than the Sterak's for sure, but not quite sure if it's the right pick. Now, Dragon is spawning in a minute's time. Bin has rotated down as well. They could potentially look for something here in the mid lane. As Mako is as well looking for something, the Mist is going to give away and betray SOFM's position, but they do spot out Mako. SOFM trying to run downwards away from the advancement of EDG, who are securing vision about a minute before Dragon has spawned. JJ seeing an opening onto On, didn't use Onslaught of Shadow, so it's still available, as On is chunked so incredibly low by the continuous piercing arrows as the True Shot Barrage comes through to trade some damage across. Mako really taking no damage whatsoever thanks to his W shield, but Bin making his way, working for his, trying to earn his keep up towards the top side with the continuous pressure, but Flandre is just there to pick it up. And really, what can Bin do? You can't really ignore a Gwen. She does too much damage even with just a Rift Maker. As we look at the XP lead, Bin way ahead of every other member of the game, but really that's because he's been by himself, and really he's encouraged to be by himself. But despite the lead he's gotten, he really can't touch towers near Scout or Flandre. In fact, I think he would rather have Scout be his opponent than Flandre. As we see a teleport coming in here, as a flank coming in from Flandre. Doesn't have any CC to fall out, but just drops the miss instantly. The root will not connect. SOFM is brought into the rest of EDG by a beautiful Onslaught of Shadows, followed by a prancing Pony Barrage. And just like that, Just like that, third dragon going in favor of EDG yet again. Looks like they set themselves up for a 28-minute dragon soul. And looking for a pick, finding a pick in fact, right before dragon as they did in game 1. And looks like immediately they're looking to try and pressure out something from Suning, heading towards posturing and threatening to start up a Baron. And looks like they are going to start it in full vision of Suning. Suning do have decent poke, however, with both On and Huanfeng in the area. In fact, Angel can duck in from over the wall as well, but they have no vision of the river. Suning need to be kind of careful. Bin is playing a little bit of a goalkeeper, walking into the bush, stepping away from a hook. Nice little dodge coming in from Bin as he presses forwards courageously. Looks like they will be enough to push EDG off of the Baron. Quite low. JJ, of course, was quite low from there, as was Flandre, not wanting to give up the entire game, not wanting to flip despite a small personnel advantage. And as a result, Suning, they will be rewarded with another outer tower. This is the second outer tower of the game for them. Only one remaining in the bot lane. We see here, nice little teleport flank coming in, is able to just keep them busy, and then the rest of EDG come in hot and heavy, throwing pretty much every ultimate available at SOFM. And it was enough. Looks like they're making some motions, EDG, to try and shut down Bin in the bot lane, as they have 5 members in the area. Bin channeling his recall. Unfortunately, he is in the bush. I was gonna say he's not in the bush, as Flandre just stops his recall, and just like that, Bin is doomed. Will Suning be able to get anything across the map is the real question, as they just kite him beautifully. Scout coming in to secure the last hit, but looks like Suning, with their composition, are not able to get too much. Meanwhile, they're just diving forward onto Viper. Viper somehow surviving as Onslaught Shadow pushing away the members of Suning. JJ covering his AD carry absolutely beautifully in that situation, and just like that, they get a free pick onto Bin. All the pressure in the side lanes that Suning had, all the pressure they had on the entire map is taken away from them, and they are not able to respond in kind in any way at all. Weren't even in position to do Baron. Actual catastrophe unfolds as Suning, they just need to soak up waves, sit back, and let EDG ward up their entire jungle at this at this point in time. If this happens again, now the EDG have decent vision, they can start to siege for towers, they can look for dives through your towers, they can just continue to siege, they can look to take away Baron. One thing's for sure, the situation is looking mighty, mighty grim. Let us not forget the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that EDG, in spite of a 2k gold lead, are very much fully in control of this game. And I hate to say draft difference. I really do. But this just does look to be the case, because they just don't have the tools. Suning has such a hard composition to execute when you compare it up against what EDG have to work with. And already, Viper is working his way through his items. He's at his 5th item right now. Looking across the board, Bin looks like he slowed down a little bit as Mako has jumped onto. Huanfeng is in the area, jumps forward with his essence shift. Oh my goodness, look at that damage coming out onto Angel. Sorry, I'm going to have to redo this whole thing. Okay, so yeah, EDG just really crafting themselves not a very easy team composition to play around. And right off the bat, let's see what happens here as Mako looks to be slightly out of position. The Arcane Shot coming through, as does the Essence Shift and the Arcane Walk, I suppose, as Mako is just getting beaten down, trying to peel away, uses the Depth Charge. Unfortunately, Bin does have the Leap Strike, but SOFM and Bin are being both chunked out by Flandre. You cannot ignore damage coming in, as JJ being a huge nuisance as well. Guardian Angel goes down. 2 members of Suning traded for only the spot on the side of EDG, and if this doesn't signal for a Baron, I really do not know what will, as Flandre popping his Zonias for some reason. Not quite sure what he had planned over there. Maybe he misclicked, was going for the W. Teleport coming in, that is Angel. Will they be able to stop this? A 3v4 situation, but On is so incredibly low. Could get instantly killed. If he gets hit by a Shuriken Toss, it is over. The piercing arrows as well are just as dangerous, but it looks like both teams struggling to do Baron. Really, the only Baron damage on the side of EDG is Flandre. Meanwhile, on the side of Suning, the same can be said, I suppose, as Bin does have most of the consistent damage, as does Huanfeng, I suppose, especially against an immobile, literally stuck to one position neutral objective like Baron. Let's see what happens here. So a nice little jump onto Mako. Mako surviving for so long. His depth charge actually saving his life. Somehow manages to survive for so long. Forces Bin to leap strike even further into the team, and then the rest is just history, I suppose, as the Gwen ultimate just shreds. Look how much damage it did to On and Huanfeng, and they just got hit by the ultimate alone. Unbelievable. as SOFM nearly caught out of position, really, the mist saving him from getting pounced on there. As the chains of corruption were ready from Viper, he just had no clue where SOFM's true position really was. Looks like Dragon is spawning, and yet again, EDG with full control, with full vision set up, with 5-man down middle, with the priority. JJ might get assassinated here by Angel, but it's quite unlikely, looking at seeing as to how tanky he is with his Divine Sunder as well as his Sterox Gauge. Teleport did come in from Bin, not quite sure where there is. It looks like Suning are going to attempt a 5v5 front to back straight up without really many flanks aside from Angel. Angel, though, what can he do? He needs to one-shot Viper, but amongst his entire team, that could prove to be a tall order. And now EDG just putting the entirety of Suning right in front of them, not allowing for any flanks at all. SOFM is looking to look for a flank, but EDG starting up the pressure, starting up the Dragon. Now they are pushing forward. They have all 5 members of Suning in front of them. No flanks available. Means Viper is incredibly safe. EDG are the ones who have the ability to pull the trigger better, as Bin is just tagged up by the Chains of Corruption, gets chunked up by the Piercing Arrow as well. Dragon goes over to the side of EDG, and instantly SOFM falls right after on. Is so incredibly low, flashing over the wall along with Huan Feng. But in comes Scout, getting a double kill with the perfect execution. Bin trying to jump away, and this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Suning have lost the game, I'm pretty sure, as Dragon Soul goes over to EDG. Nothing could be done. They couldn't even stop the onslaught that continued as EDG just pounced forward, 5-man strong. Look at the power of the Ocean Soul. They are basically at full HP, full mana at this point. Maybe not Viper, maybe not Mako, but everybody else most definitely is. As Scout now can just play goalkeeper. Anyone who steps forward will probably die. The Ezreal is gone, the Karma is gone, no poke from over the wall, no Viego for the steal as Viper gets thrown up in the air. A little bit of a celebration jump, I suppose. And really, Suning are in a deep pit. 4,000 gold behind. If you see here, not quite sure. Okay, see what Scout's POV. He just sees an opening, just helps to execute the Viego, and then the perfect execution. Seeing, oh, look at that opening. Look at how much HP on lost actually. Pretty much at a third of his health bar. And after that, it was pretty much not it. You know, one thing I'm most impressed about watching pro players is their ability to just press tab in the middle of a fight. They just press tab for a brief second. It's like 0.5 seconds, and they see something. I'm not sure what they see, but they see something. Maybe they're checking to see if he has flash, or they're checking to see if he's got Zhonya's, but I really don't know how you can see anything in that 0.5 second tab. And really, at some point, you see those POVs of Faker. There's even a video about like what Faker actually does. Faker, you know, like what he actually does in when he's playing solo queues. It's kind of funny. Like, no doubt it's funny, but it kind of looks like that to a certain extent. Sometimes he's playing one of those really APM heavy intensive games, and he's just, you know, in the meantime, just, you know, in champ select, and he's deciding what he wants to pick. He like purposely waits until there's 5 seconds left before he does his runes, just to see how quick he can do it, as opposed to see how calm he can be. As the continuous poke comes in from Viper, Viper is getting a bit of damage traded back towards him, as Huan Feng now does have his Sereldas as well. But for some reason, at the same items, at the same point in the game, last game, Viper's Ezreal just seemed more aggressive, more able to be aggressive. Because of course, if he arcane shifts forward now, he's just asking for trouble. He's asking for a depth charge in the face or an anchor right in the kisser. As EDG start the harass, 5-man against 5-man, front to back, no flanks available as Flandre is just cutting everybody off. Really, there's nothing that you can do here. Look at that. You hit a perfect skill shot. It doesn't matter, it goes right through him as where did On go? On was, I'm not sure if he disconnected or not, but I guess it doesn't really matter because he's just absolutely decimated. And pretty much if any of these piercing arrows hits, they will do as the name implies, and they will pierce, they will cut, they will go deep. As in comes another one, boom, Bin, not taking so much damage this time, I suppose, being a slightly more tanky with the Warden's Mail, a bit of armor for you, I suppose. As Mako stepping forward, landing the hook onto SOFM after the Heartbreaker. It looks like SOFM is going to be taken out. Scout jump in with the Shuriken Toss, does have perfect execution available, but it's only its first proc as another piercing arrow comes through. Down goes SOFM, Onslaught of Shadows throws Bin into his team, as does the charge. Angel tries to jump in. Unfortunately, it doesn't do too much as Mako, his ankle, would have killed him if he hit that one. And it looks like the game is going to end without further ado. Angel jumping forward with a distortion yet again, nearly doesn't get out with the rest of his life as a flash to the side from Viper with the piercing arrow. Will he be able to charge up another one and perhaps one shot on before the game ends? No, that does not look to be the case. As EDG, a very convincing win across the board on either side of the rift. Not looking too flustered, challenged, pushed, or even I wouldn't say too happy, but Flandre looking like he's having the time of his life, knowing that Gwen is a good ass champion to play, just standing in front of the entirety of Suning. Nothing really much they could do. It's just how the champion's built, I suppose. I cannot wait for Akshan to come out and see what happens. Honestly, it doesn't look like he's going to be a competitive pick, but what can we say? What do we know? Things might be better across the board. Things might be better than we seem. It just depends on how the stats are. As a nice little bit of fist bumping goes down. Thank you guys so much for staying and watching 2 games of commentary today. I think I'm getting a bit better in terms of the energy level. Still, the commentary is a little bit weak. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll work on that, ladies and gentlemen. We will get better together. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.